my predictions for the month of May for everybody coming up. Hello everybody, I'm Tina Chaudhary. Welcome to my channel and a very warm namaste. Aham Brahmasmi. So we're going to start with the major planetary transits and placements that are going to happen in May. The first thing that's going to happen that's pretty important is there's going to be a lunar eclipse on May 5th. We just had a solar eclipse, and so eclipses always come in pairs. So we've now had a solar eclipse in April, and now on May 5th, we're going to have a lunar eclipse. It's not a partial, it's not a total lunar eclipse. It's a penumbral lunar eclipse, which means it's just through the edge. The shadow of the Earth on the edge is going to be on the moon. You can Google it for further information. So now it's going to be visible in several parts of the world, but because it's just a penumbral lunar eclipse, it's not a total or it's not a partial, the effect of this lunar eclipse is going to be very subtle. It's not going to have a major effect on all of us or the world. Normally, lunar eclipses obviously have to do with the moon. They're lunar. So the moon has to do with our emotions and our feelings. And so normally the lunar eclipses have an impact on our emotions, our sensitivities, how we feel. Some people, it has a major effect on some people. Some people are a little more sensitive to the lunar eclipse. People that have a very strong moon placement, people that are Cancer ascendants, or people that have a lot of planets placed in the nakshatra of the moon, or people that are having the dasha, antardashas of the moon, are going to be a little more sensitive to the energy of the lunar eclipse. Most of us may not feel the impact of it so much, but just so you know, it's going to be on May 5th. When I make my predictions for all the ascendants, I'm going to just briefly give you an idea of what each ascendant could possibly feel like, the impact of this lunar eclipse. It doesn't mean that you're going to feel it. I'm just mentioning it because, like I said, it's not a very strong eclipse, meaning it's not going to have a major impact on us. It's more of a subtle effect. So the other major planetary news is that Jupiter transited from its own zodiac sign of Pisces into Aries on April 22nd. And guess who was waiting for it? Rahu was already in Aries. And so now we have a conjunction of Jupiter with Rahu in Aries. Now, I know it transited in April, towards the end of April, but the major impact of this conjunction is now going to start to be felt in starting May, June. And as Jupiter progresses and moves further into the zodiac sign of Aries, the effect of this is going to be we're going to start feeling this effect of it more starting in May now. You don't start to feel the effect of it sometimes as soon as the transit happens, but as the months progress, you start to feel that impact of it. Now, this is a conjunction that may not be a very positive conjunction. It's some sort of a challenging conjunction of Jupiter with Rahu. I made a video on this conjunction a couple of videos ago, so if you've watched it but you've forgotten, you can obviously rewatch it. But if you haven't watched that video, it's kind of important, so just kind of go ahead and watch that video again to kind of have an idea what this conjunction means to you and to the rest of the world. The conjunction is going to last till the end of the year, so it's a very important video to watch. Like I said, the conjunction lasts for a long time, so this impact of this Jupiter Rahu conjunction can impact you sometime during this year. It doesn't have to impact you in May necessarily, but it can impact you sometime during this year, depending upon when you're going to be under the influence of Jupiter and Rahu, at a personal level. So it's going to impact all of us in some way, but it just depends on the timeline of when it impacts each person during from now until the end of the year. So if you haven't watched that video, make sure you watch it. I'm going to add a link of that video in my description box as well. The third planetary news that we have for May that's going to impact all of us quite a bit is the fact that Mars is going to transit out of its current zodiac sign that it's transiting in Gemini, and it's going to go into the zodiac sign of Cancer on May 8th. And the reason it's important is because Mars debilitates in the zodiac sign of Cancer. Mars represents fire, and it's has heat associated with it, and Cancer is a water sign. So when you put fire into water, it's obviously going to get extinguished. So that's one of the reasons that Mars debilitates in Cancer. What this means for us, that Mars represents our passion, our the fire within us. The fire within us can be good or bad. So the good fire within us makes us take on initiatives. It gives us courage. It gives us boldness when we want to take on tasks. It also, the energy in our body is given by Mars. So that's the good fire in us. Now, what is the bad fire within us? The negative impact of Mars gives us anger issues. It also gives us rage issues, the frustration, the violence that it gives us. So Mars has a lot of benefic influence as well as some negative, challenging issues that it gives us. When Mars debilitates, it tends to give more of its negative impact to us as opposed to the benefic influences it has. So on some of the negative, challenging impacts that Mars is going to have on us after May 8th is going to be the fact that there's going to be frustrated, pent up anger within ourselves. Our communication with others may not be the best. We may take out our anger on people. We may just quarrel needlessly. We may pick up fights with people, depending upon where the sign of Cancer falls for each ascendant, and the houses that Mars rules for each ascendant. They're going to be different, but the basic impact is going to be the same, where we're going to be very, this like pent up rage impact, and the fact that we want to just pick up fights with people. And so this is the negative impact of Mars. Mars also represents our ability to digest food. It's the fire in our belly. So like I said, it represents fire. So it represents the fire in our belly. So it represents our digestive processes also. So a lot of people may not be able to, digest food well, or they may have digestive issues. So this is the negative impact that when Mars debilitates, this is what it can give us. The other impact of negative Mars or debilitated Mars is that Mars represents blood for all of us in our bodies. So we need to be careful, while we're working with sharp instruments, because we can cut ourselves. People that work in the kitchen may cut themselves. So it could be minor scrapes and injuries, as well as it could have, major injuries as well. So you need to be very careful while you're handling things, or, don't do anything risky at this time. Probably not a very good idea. You can get injured. So very prone to injuries during the time Mars is debilitated, because it does give you the impact of being injured, have bleeding issues at this time as well. So this is the impact of a debilitated Mars. So let me just talk about what other transits that are happening before I forget. So Venus makes a transit on May 2nd. So Venus is going to move to the sign of Gemini. May 2nd, it's going to stay there all month. It's going to be there till May 30th. And the Sun always has a transit in the middle of the month. So on May 14th, it's going to get out of this 4-planet cluster that it's sitting in Aries with. So right now it's in the sign of Aries. It's sitting with Jupiter, Rahu, and Mercury, and then it gets out of there and it goes into the zodiac sign of Taurus on May 14th. So those are all the planetary transits and the events for May. I move on to predictions, but please let me tell you for the millionth time that my predictions are based on Vedic astrology calculations, and they're also based on your rising sign, ascendant sign, or your lagna, which is the first zodiac sign of your birth chart. They're not based on Western astrology calculations. Also, they're not based on the sun signs, based on what is, read about in magazines and newspapers. That's garbage. Please don't read that. That's just for entertainment. And you can't follow those zodiac signs as well. So make sure you're listening to the right zodiac sign. Also, if you like my channel, please do subscribe to my channel. Always put out wonderful videos to help you guys. And also, if you like the video, give me a like, and also share my video with friends and family so they know what they can expect in the month of May as well. Aries for May. Aries, the lunar eclipse is in your 7th house, and this sort of disturbs the married life, so creates some mental stress related to your marriage partner. If you're in a business, then it also creates the stress with your business partner as well. Speaking about the month of May in general, if you'll notice, there's a cluster of 4 planets in your 1st house, which means there's a lot of impact to the 1st house. The 1st house represents you yourself, which means there's all kinds of impact on you, your physical body. and the effort that you're going to make. So it's going to be a very mixed sort of month. It's neither good nor bad. It's has all kinds of different impacts. If you talk about your career, Saturn is in the 11th house and it's aspecting the first house, which means it's aspecting you. So Saturn's going to put a lot of pressure on you to perform in your career. The good thing is that the sun for the first half of the month is in your first house. So it's going to give you lots of visibility. Your seniors are going to take notice of you. So that's the good impact. The second half of the month, the sun moves out of there and it goes into your second house of finance. So it's better month. The second half of the month is better for your finance. At the same time, the pressure is never going to be taken off of you because Jupiter, Rahu are still going to be in your first house. So it all depends on your own effort that you're going to put towards your career as well as towards your finance. You're going to have to do a lot of work. You're going to put a lot of effort into growing your career and into earning the finances if you need to see the results or if you want to see the results. The other challenge that Aries has been seeing is that Ketu or South Node has been in their 7th house. It's been troubling or disturbing the married life for a little bit. Now the lunar eclipse happens in there. So it kind of, challenges it a little bit. Not much. This is a very minor lunar eclipse. So I'm not going to say it's going to trouble it a lot. But when Ketu is in the 7th house, it just creates a little bit of a disinterest in the marriage. And so now the lunar eclipse might just enhance that impact where you just feel like, getting away from your partner. Might just be a very temporary impact as well. The biggest impact you might feel is the Mars, your ascendant lord, on May 10th moves into your 4th house and it debilitates. So up to now, Mars is in the 3rd house and it's giving you lots of energy, lots of confidence, lots of initiative. And, giving you the energy to do all this work that Saturn is pressuring you to do. But after May 10th, when it debilitates, it's going to make you feel low on energy. And it's also going to disturb the 4th house, which is the house of domestic happiness. So that's going to have that impact, as well as might disturb your health a little bit as well, because it also rules your 8th house. And the 6th house ruler Mercury is also in your ascendant house. So you need to take very good care of your health during this time. You're going to feel low on energy. Just, be careful while you're driving or doing anything risky. Don't take chances with that. So some of the things that you might want to do is have a very good physical regimen to kind of make sure your energy is up. Eat very healthy to make sure your energy is also up. Otherwise, you might feel like you don't, your digestion is weaker, or you may feel, anxiety or a sense of weakness in the body. So you definitely need to take very, very good care of your health during this time. And some of the other things, Saturn is aspecting the 5th house, which rules love relationships with children. So you're going to feel like you have all the pressure and the burden to maintain those relationships. So you feel like all the burdens on you to maintain these relationships. So that's one of the other things. And if you're a student, then you're also going to feel the burden of the studies or whatever that you're doing as a student. Don't take it as much as a burden. Try to, feel energetic. Try to take good care of your health so you don't feel your studies as a burden. That's just how it's going to be for the next couple of years. So try to handle it the best you can by keeping yourself healthy and interested. Taurus. For May, Taurus, the lunar eclipse is in your 6th house, and the 6th house is already a challenging house because it represents your health. It also represents competition, loans. It also represents any legal issues if there's some going on. So during this lunar eclipse, the impact it might have on you is that you might feel worried about all these things. So you're going to feel very low on energy possibly, and also you may have some worries or some stress related to your co-workers, people talking behind your back at work, and also if you have any legal issues going on, or if you have any issues with competition going on, you may have certain worries about them. As far as the predictions for the month of May are concerned, when several planets transit the 12th house, they activate the energy of the 12th house. The 12th house signifies expenses, losses, faraway places, foreign lands, your sleep pattern. And so, and also it just represents spirituality, but more than that, it represents a person wanting to get away from all the things and being by yourself or being in isolation, just to figure things out, to think things through. It's a sense of not wanting to be with other people. So that's a very highly activated 12th house for Taurus, where they want to just get away from everybody or most people. And I've been saying, as far as the Taurus career is concerned, I've been saying lots of prior months that Taurus will see career changes, and a lot of the Taurus, because of these career changes, may have to relocate to somewhere far away from where they have been. But more than anything, the month of May does signify for Taurus very high expenses. It also indicates losses. So this would not be a month I would recommend for Taurus to, especially the first half of the month, I would not recommend Taurus do any investments or changes in their financial plans, because the 12th house, like I said, is a house of losses. So it's very highly activated. The first half of the month, from an expense standpoint, also, a lot of Taurus people will definitely feel like buying or investing in, I should say, real estate, or buying a house, or spending money on the house. And some of you actually might even purchase a car or a luxury vehicle, because the fourth lord, which is the sun, is in the 12th house. So a lot of Taurus people might spend on that or feel like spending on it. Now, the second half of the month is definitely a little better from an expense standpoint, but Rahu and Jupiter continue to stay in the 12th house for an extended period of time, so that expensive streak continues for Taurus. The other thing they need to watch for is that they don't take on too many loans and debts and credit card debts because of the spending streak that's going on, because the 6th house is activated. So watch your expenses carefully and don't take on too much debt or loans during this next several months, is something that Taurus really needs to watch. As far as love life is concerned, I think you might have to wait for a better month, because this is the month where there may be lack of understanding and some tension in the relationship. Now, I'm talking about love relationships, as well as the marriage relationships is also going to be disturbed a little bit. Overall, the family relationships also might be a little bit stressed, because you might not like the fact that your family is putting so much expectation on you or from you. And I do have some very good news for Taurus. I think some of you may travel to a foreign country or travel some faraway place, and it might be a very good spiritual experience for you. So have fun doing that, and have a good month. Gemini for May. Gemini, the lunar eclipse is in your 5th house. The 5th house relates to your love life. It relates to your children. It also relates to your investment ideas. And if you're a student, it relates to your education. And this lunar eclipse is going to cause you a little bit of worry in all of these areas if they apply. For Gemini, there is a cluster of 4 planets in the 11th house that's going to give you excellent results from a financial standpoint. Rahu gives you the opportunity to earn from unexpected sources. These financial rewards could definitely be from your job. They could also be from real estate investments. They could definitely be from any investments that you made in the past. They could also be from the field of media communications. But they could definitely be from any efforts that you've been making in the past, regardless of whether they were from your career or whether they were from your investment ideas that you did in the past. And this is because the sun, which is the ruler of your 3rd house, is in the 11th house. So the 3rd house is your effort and the initiatives that you take. So even if you take any efforts, you make any initiatives to do new things or to make new investments, this is definitely going to be a very rewarding time from a financial perspective for you. And one more point on getting financial rewards is that because Jupiter is also in the 11th house, Jupiter represents wisdom, getting good advice. So if you want to go get good advice from somebody regarding any financial planning or financial management, then this is a perfect time to do that. In fact, I would counsel you to do that before you do any financial management. Get good advice, because Jupiter being there, you'll probably get very good advice from somebody, a person that obviously has expertise in that. You would probably get really good advice about that as well. And one other thing also is going to give you a good luck factor is that Saturn is transiting in your 9th house. The 9th house represents your dharma. But above all, it represents your good luck associated with your dharma and your karma. So the good things that you've done in the past are going to also give you a lot of good luck factor. If your father is still in your life, make sure you get his blessings. Make sure you maintain a very good relationship with him, because that's the key to activating the good luck in your life for the next 2.5 years. Also, make sure you stay close to the divine, because that's also represented by the ninth house, and that's very important for you over the next 2.5 years while Saturn is in the ninth house. So where's the challenge this month? Well, the challenge comes from your second house. So the second house is your family, it's your speech, your communication, and relationships. And Mars is going to debilitate in that house. And also the lunar eclipse is going to happen not in the second house, but because the moon rules the second house. So there's going to have an impact on that. So you need to make sure that your communication with family members stays cordial. You're not rude. Mars has angry, fiery speech associated with it when it debilitates. So you need to make sure you don't have anger towards your family members. Communicate with them in a very pleasant manner. Try to not have the Mars energy overrule you and you start getting angry with family members and start screaming and getting combative with them. The other thing is that the second house does rule food. So you have to be very careful with what you're eating, because that can cause some digestive issues. And the other thing that you need to be careful with is colds and, general headaches also. So that's a possibility as well. The other thing that you can possibly suffer from is some pain in your shoulders and upper body as well. So to take good care of your health. I'm not saying it's a major concern, but it's a possibility. Overall, very good month from a career and financial standpoint. You just really need to, watch your communication and your relationships with all your family members as well as your spouse. Cancer for May. Cancer this month has a lunar eclipse, and your ascendant ruler is Moon. So this is going to have some emotional impact on you. You're going to worry about your domestic matters, your home environment. And you're also going to have stress related to the high spending, high expenses that are going on related to spending at home. I would recommend that during the eclipse time, before and after, you drink lots of water, try to do some meditation to calm your mind down, because the lunar eclipse has the maximum effect on the Cancer individuals. For the general predictions for May, talking about your career, now this is the first month where the Guru Chandal Yoga, or the Rahu Jupiter conjunction now is activated in your 10th house, which is the house of career. And I've been saying in the last several months that because Saturn is in the 8th house, there's going to be a disturbance for Cancer individuals as far as their career is concerned. They're either going to change it on their own or they're going to be forced to change it. And now the disturbance starts because this is when the conjunction has started. There's a few things you can do to make sure this disturbance is minimized. One, you need to watch your communication at work. Make sure there's no attitude, no ego associated with it. The other thing is, be very cooperative with coworkers and don't create waves. But mainly it's about your ego as well this month, because the sun for the first half of the month is going to be in your career house. And so there's going to be a certain ego attached to yourself where you're going to throw this ego around at work and it's not going to go well. So just take some of these precautions and watch your attitude, and the month should probably go well. Venus transits to your 12th house early on in the month, which makes it a very expensive month. So if you're not wanting to spend money, you need to be watchful of what you're spending on. It's most likely going to be either on travel, or you're also going to be spending money on the home renovation, home items, or, big ticket items also. Ketu has been in the 4th house, which rules the relationship with the mother. So sometimes it causes a little bit of a relationship issue or distancing with your mother. And now with the lunar eclipse, that might make it slightly worse. So make sure you maintain a very good relationship with your mother. Tell her you love her so you don't let this Ketu lunar eclipse energy ruin that relationship. For the married Cancer people, because their 7th house, which is the house of marriage, is ruled by Saturn, and now Saturn is going to be in the 8th house for the next 2 years. I'm going to have to keep repeating to you that you need to keep the spark in your marriage going. So try not to be so boring. Saturn's a boring planet. Try to keep the fun in your marriage, going, and make sure you spend quality time with your partner. As far as health is concerned, there's no really big issues that I see, but Saturn is in the 8th house, so it's going to give you nagging issues throughout its transit. You might just have a headache issue, or you might have problem with your eyes, or you might have some problem like with dental issues. So, but they're very small issues. I wouldn't be concerned about them. I'm just mentioning them. Leo for May. Leo, The lunar eclipse is going to be in your third house. So the impact that it will have on you is the feeling of low energy, lack of confidence, and a general feeling of fatigue. This is also going to give you some worries related to your family and finance. If you have any travel plans a few days before or after the eclipse, make sure your travel plans are very, very well planned and you don't forget anything at home and you bring and pack everything really well. As far as the predictions for the month of May is concerned, the main thing is that Jupiter is finally out of the 8th house and it's gone into the 9th house along with Rahu and activated the house of luck. The 9th house is the house of dharma and the house of luck. This means that the promotion or career growth that you have been waiting for or working so hard for in the last few months may finally materialize now. Make sure to keep your professional relationships very pleasant. This will be very important because Venus is transiting in the 10th and then it moves to the 11th house of gains. So it's very important to maintain relationships at work in order to get good gains from your career. This is a very, very lucky time for you. So Leo, make sure you avail of this luck factor. Your ascendant Lord Sun has just had a solar eclipse last month and now it's free up from that solar eclipse and it's in the house of luck in the 9th house. This means that it's a wonderful time as far as luck is concerned for all the Leos, but especially more for all the Leos that are still working professionally, because this further enhances the luck factor for your career. In order to activate the luck factor at this time, because of the cluster of planets in the 9th house, as well as the fact that Jupiter is going to be there for an extended period of time, stay close to the divine. You can also chant your favorite mantra regularly and do meditation on a regular basis because this activates Jupiter and the luck factor of the 9th house. As far as relationships are concerned, because the Leos are going to be focusing so much on their career, there may be the tendency to neglect relationships. So make sure that you manage the work-life balance very well and take care of your relationships as well. Saturn is in the 7th house, which means a house of marriage. So you make sure there is no disturbance in your marriage. Make sure you pay attention to your partner's needs and take care of them. One of the really positive things about this transit is for students because Jupiter loves being in the 9th house and it's a very positive transit for students. So students are going to have a very good focus on their education and they should make very good use of it and do whatever they can to achieve good results. The only downside to the month of May is that when Mars transits to your 12th house and debilitates over there, it's going to be an expensive month for Leos. So if you need to watch your money, make sure you control your expenses because Mars is going to make you spend a lot of money on home matters, home renovation, something to do with the home, or buying some expensive large ticket items as well. Virgo for May. Virgo, the lunar eclipse is in your 2nd house and the 2nd house rules finance, it rules your family, and it also rules your food habits. So you're going to be emotionally concerned about your family and also going to be some worries regarding your finances at this time. So a few days before and after the eclipse, one of the best things you can do to control this emotional worry is to drink lots and lots of cold water because it's in your 2nd house. So this water remedy will work very well for you. As far as the general predictions for May is concerned, you have a 4-planet conjunction cluster going on in the 8th house, which means that there are constant obstacles, changes, unforeseen events, and delays that impact mostly everything that is going on in your life. These could be related to your work schedule, domestic matters, relationships, and above all, your expenses and finance. It's going to feel like that you have no control on things and that whatever you plan eventually gets changed. As far as your career is concerned, Venus will transit from your 9th house into the 10th house, which puts the focus on your relationships at work as well as your financial gains from your career. It's a very positive transit as far as both those things are concerned, your career as well as the financial benefits. You're going to see excellent financial benefits this month, but it's also going to be a month of extreme hard work. This month, your 3rd house is going to be aspected first by Venus and later by Sun, which means that there's going to be a lot of short travels for Virgo this month. But while you're traveling, make sure you plan well, you have everything that you need, and you don't forget things at home, because don't forget the eighth house is active at all times, so things can change, or you could have forgotten things that you really need, or there could be some schedule changes as well. As far as love and relationships are concerned, the ruler of your seventh house, which is your marriage house, is Jupiter, and now that's just transited into the eighth house, which means there could be a certain disturbance in your married life. So make sure you do whatever it is to manage this new transit, and pay attention to your spouse. Be very patient with your spouse and manage your relationship well. And lastly, Mars does get debilitated in the 11th house of gains and social network. So one of the things that you need to be really cautious of is your investment activity, and how you manage your finances. So this is not the time to be taking chances or risks, because Mars does rule your 8th house as well. So just kind of pay attention to how you manage your money. Also, because Mars aspects your communication at this time, it's going to have give you the tendency to have angry, combative speech with family members, friends, children, as well as your spouse and co-workers. So you need to manage your communication where you're not angry and shouting at them or being combative with them. So manage your speech and what you're saying to them, how you're saying it to them very carefully. Otherwise, you could damage relationships during this time. And also, like I said, manage your money very carefully. Don't take risks at this time. As far as health is concerned, there's really nothing to worry about except the fact that Mars does debilitate. It impacts the second house. So just watch what you eat. Make sure you're eating things that actually agree with you. Libra for May. Libra, the eclipse is going to be in your first house, the ascendant house, which rules your physical body. So it might make you feel lethargic, depressed, and emotionally sensitive. Even the smallest things might hurt your feelings. The best thing you can do is drink lots of water, try meditation to calm your mind. As far as the month of May is concerned and predictions, let's talk about your career. Your career lord is the moon, which is going to be eclipsed early in the month. And then Mars moves into the 10th house of career and debilitates there. So this month might be one where Libra is a little frustrated at work. At the same time, you're expected to work very hard, and you may feel that there is no recognition for you. Don't worry, this is just temporary. The good news is that Jupiter is finally out of the troubling 6th house, and now from the 7th house, it aspects the 11th house of gains and rewards. So just give it some time and have patience, and you will be rewarded for your hard work financially as well. Speaking of financially, this is a month that balances out. Income is good, and it just goes out through maybe some unexpected expenses. Since Jupiter is aspecting your 3rd house of travel, some Libras will have very enjoyable travel during this time as well. The other major impact that Libra has been feeling is that of Ketu being in the 1st house. The 1st house represents our physical body. So this impacts the health of the Libras. There is an ongoing lack of appetite, and some of the Libras may have been losing weight. And the reason for that is Ketu, wherever it transits, cuts the signification of that house in half. So since in your case, Libra represents the physical body, some of the Libras may have just been losing weight or lost weight for nothing that they're doing. And that's because of Ketu's placement in there. Just watch your diet very carefully. Make sure you're eating very healthy, because Ketu sometimes tends to get lack of energy as well in the physical body. So just take good care of your health. As far as relationships is concerned, Mars is the ruler of the marital relationship as well as the family relationships for Libras, because it owns the 2nd house as well as the 7th house. And now Mars does get debilitated in May. So there is disturbance in family relationships as well as relationship with your marriage partner. And the disturbance comes from the fact that you may have suppressed anger. Mars gives angry speech to you. Mars may also give you some suppressed anger and frustration, and the fact that you feel nobody's listening to you and you want everybody to obey you. And so you have fights, you have quarrels, and you just get into disturbing conflict with, aggressive conflict with family members. Try to control your anger. Try to remain as calm as possible in your communication with everyone, because that's just the Mars energy from its debilitation. It's going to pass. It's there just for a short while, and it's going to pass. So in the meantime, try meditation. Try to remain as calm as possible. Otherwise, this really will disturb some relationships. Students, you're going to have to work very, very hard in order to achieve good results. So keep your focus and work as hard as possible to achieve good results. So I'm sorry, Libra, this doesn't seem like a fun month, but as long as you can control the Mars fiery energy and your anger and your temperament, this should be an okay month. Scorpio for May. Scorpio, the eclipse is going to be in your 12th house, and this impacts your emotions and sleep pattern. You may prefer to stay in solitude, and some of you may like to be by yourself and spend some time introspecting within yourself. This may impact your expenses and losses as well, so your spending might be high this month. As far as the predictions for the month of May is concerned, there is now a cluster of 4 planets in the 6th house, which caution you to manage your health, your stress, spending, relationships, and your career. I don't think I've left out anything, but that's how exactly it is for Scorpio. There may be worries related to lots of things in life because the 6th house relates to nagging problems of life. Its aspect on the 12th house means that there's no peace of mind, and some of you, most of those worries may actually be unnecessary. It just lends itself to you worrying unnecessarily at times. The biggest impact for you this month is that your ascendant Lord Mars is going to be debilitated. And this means you need to take care of your health, your attitude, and your behavior with others. You may have feelings of resentment against family members, siblings, as well as co-workers. And you need to guard against taking out your anger on them because that's going to be very damaging for you in the long run. Also, you need to take care of your mother's health and don't damage your relationship with her because, of the lunar eclipse, and the moon rules your mother at this time. And for you, Mars is going to be aspecting the house of the mother, which is the 4th house. The 6th house has a lot of energy in there, and so the 6th house represents loans, debts. So make sure you don't get into a very big debt or a loan situation because your 12th house of expenses is very activated as well. So make sure you're not spending so much where you get into a debt or a loan situation, credit card debt, that kind of stuff. Because Venus will move into your 8th house, so there could be some very sudden, unexpected expenses at this time as well. So just kind of watch your expenses. Even though if you can't afford it, be prepared for something unexpected that comes up by way of financing expenses. So if I was to talk particularly about your career, Saturn is aspecting your house of career. So it's going to benefit. I mean, your career is going to do well. It's just going to ask you to do lots and lots of hard work before it gives you any rewards. Plus now, Jupiter is also aspecting your 10th house of career. So both Saturn and Jupiter are aspecting your 10th house of career. But it's not going to happen overnight. You're going to have to put a lot of effort and a lot of hard work in it before you start seeing rewards. So just have patience. It's going to come in the next few months. It's not going to come this month, and just have the patience to put in the hard work and the effort and then to realize the gains much later in the year as opposed to this month. As far as relationship with your spouse is concerned, a little bit of a disturbance because Venus does move into the 8th house. And so there's a challenge there. Make sure you manage through this. Be cordial and pleasant in the relationship and try not to argue and quarrel so much. And I did mention that the 6th house is very activated due to the presence of so many planets. So one of the remedies for that, and this is for your health, is to have a very good physical workout regimen. Now, whether it's a low intensity or a high intensity, it doesn't really matter. As long as you do it with dedication, with consistency, and with discipline, this should work. Sagittarius for May. Sagittarius, the lunar eclipse is in your 11th house. So you may have some emotional issues related to friends or siblings. Also, worries related to material gains may bother you at this time. As far as the predictions for May is concerned, your ascendant Lord Jupiter has now transited into the 5th house. And in May, there is a 4-planet conjunction in the 5th house itself, and it is going to get involved in. This is a very positive placement for Jupiter, and this month you should start to feel its presence because your upbeat mood, general sense of well-being, and a positive outlook in life. This month is favorable in terms of career growth as well as financial rewards because these planets aspect the 11th house of gains and desire fulfillment. Venus transits to your 7th house, so it's also very favorable for business owners. You will see good profits this month, and you may even think of investing in new projects during this month. The caution for Sagittarius is that Mars is going to debilitate in the 8th house, so there may be a tendency to overspend on having fun, as well as on children and even on traveling. So there's a possibility of unexpected and sudden expenses. So you do need to control this tendency to spend money on a lot of things that may be unnecessary, especially if you're trying to save money. Saturn is in the 3rd house, and that asks you to continue to make a good self-effort and to take the necessary initiatives in your career if you want to see the good results in the next few months as well. Relationships are also very pleasant this month because Jupiter is in its best placement possible of the 5th house. Those looking for love may even find someone this month or in the next few months, because Jupiter is going to be in the 5th house for a very long time. This is also a very positive placement for students. They will be very focused in their studies. Jupiter performs the best in the 5th house because the 5th house denotes all the good things of life, like your children, your love life, creativity, investment ideas. And so that's why Sagittarius is going to, get all the beautiful benefits of Jupiter. And it's also their ascendant lord. Health is also not going to be an issue for Sagittarius because the 5th house is recovery from any diseases or illnesses that you may have had in the past. And so the 5th house is recovery from that, or good health. So health is not an issue for Sagittarius. Capricorn for May. Capricorn, the eclipse is going to be in your 10th house, and so this may make you very insecure in matters of your career. Also may make you very emotional about your career or profession. If you have a Capricorn moon, then you're in your last phase of Sadhisati. As far as predictions for the month of May is concerned, your ascendant lord Saturn has been in the 2nd house of wealth and family. And this is favorable in terms of financial savings and income. But now Jupiter has just moved into the 4th house, and it aspects the 8th and the 12th house. So it activates the expense factor for Capricorn. Some of these expenses could be unforeseen or unexpected due to the aspect on the 8th house. But some of these could be related to your home, real estate, or even purchasing of a car. There could be expenses related to your health as well. Ketu has been in the 10th house of career, and now all of these 4 planets conjunction, which is in the 4th house, this is going to be aspecting the 10th house of the career, which is very good news. You may get appreciation from your seniors. Your work may be appreciated and recognized as well. So generally, this is a very favorable month in terms of career. And if you're looking for a new job, this is a good month for that as well. The challenge is from Mars being debilitated in the 7th house of marriage. So resist the tendency to start fights with your partner as well as with your co-workers. Manage your anger and your combative approach, and as well as your ego at work and with your marriage partner. And for you, Mars owns the 4th house as well. So take good care of your mother's health and your relationship with her. So nurture the relationship with her. Tell her you love her and take very good care of her. As far as your health is concerned, the only impact is on your health is due to Saturn being in the 2nd house, which gives you the tendency to eat stale and processed foods and not drink enough water. And then this gives you the digestive issues. So make sure you eat fresh, healthy food all the time and drink lots and lots, plenty of water to stay hydrated and healthy. So this takes care of that negative Saturn energy of the 2nd house, because the 2nd house rules food. And so when you start eating fresh, healthy food, drinking lots of water, it kind of overtakes that energy of Saturn. Saturn's a very dry old planet. So when you start eating foods and drinking water contrary to Saturn's energy, you don't get the negative impact of Saturn being in the 2nd house, which also improves your financial matters and financial situation, but also starts to improve your relationship with family members, because you've kind of negated the Saturn impact on the 2nd house. So it's a great remedy to do in general as well. As far as love life is concerned, Venus is going to move from the 5th house to the 6th house. And the other house that's owned by Venus is Libra, and that's the 10th house. And that's where Ketu is and the lunar eclipse is happening. So May not be the best months for love life. It might be a little bit disturbed. So let's wait to see what the next month brings as far as love life is concerned. Aquarius for May. Aquarius, the lunar eclipse is in your 9th house. So this may give you a feeling that you're not being supported by anyone. And you also may have a sense of emotional weakness during the few days before and after the eclipse. As far as the May predictions are concerned, your ascendant lord Saturn is in your own ascendant house. So it's making you feel very low on energy. You have been feeling a general sense of ill health as well. This month, there's a cluster of 4 planets in the 3rd house because Jupiter has just transited into the 3rd house recently. Jupiter does not perform well in the 3rd house. Also, Mars is your career lord, and this is Mars is going to be debilitated this month. So this is going to be very challenging in terms of your career and health as well. You will be expected to work extra hard, and you may have lots of additional responsibilities. But in return, you may not get the recognition or the monetary benefits that you rightly deserve or that are due to you. Since Saturn does aspect your 10th house of career, you will see or get these positive results in your career on a later date or on a delayed basis, but it's just not this month. Saturn gives results in your career, but it gives results on a delayed basis. So Saturn's the planet that gives results on a very delayed basis. So any rewards, recognitions, or good career growth that Saturn's going to give to Aquarius are going to be much later in its transit, not in the beginning of the transit. So Saturn's transit just started in January. Health could also be a concern for Aquarius this month due to Saturn being in the 1st house. So the health concern is stress, which results in backache, anxiety, and there could also be stiffness in joints and legs, and that's what Saturn in the 1st house does. So this is not just for this month, but for the Saturn transit that's going to go on for 2 years. So the stiffness in the legs and body aches and pains is very characteristic of Saturn being in the 1st house. As far as relationships are concerned, there's a little bit of disturbance that Saturn gives to the marital relationship because it does aspect the 7th house. But this month, because Sun is in the 3rd house, there could be gains from your partner due to Sun being in the 3rd house. Sun being in the 3rd house and the cluster of the 4 planets in the 3rd house indicates travel in the month of May for Aquarius. As far as love relationships is concerned, Venus is going to be transiting in the 5th house, which is a good transit for that. So it's a positive time for love relationships and for relationship with children. Now, there's a difference between love relationship as opposed to marital relationship. So just make sure you understand the difference there. And so with all these challenges, what could be the remedy? Ketu is in the 9th house, and the 9th house represents dharma, spirituality. It also represents our father. So if you're lucky enough to have your father in your life, stay very close to him. Make sure your relationship with him is very positive. And the other thing that you can do is to stay on a spiritual path. Ketu in the 9th house indicates spirituality, and that also activates the luck factor, and it also promotes healing of some sort. So spirituality means mantras, meditation, those kind of things will help Aquarius quite a bit. So try to do that as much as you can. So it promotes the healing in the body, and also, like I said, activates your good luck factor. So that should help quite a bit. Pisces for May. Pisces, the lunar eclipse is in your 8th house, and this impacts sudden and unexpected events. And it also indicates a general state of mental worry and tension. As far as your predictions for the month of May is concerned, your ascendant lord Jupiter has just transited out of your own ascendant, the 1st house, to the 2nd house. And it's part of a conjunction of 4 planets in the 2nd house. Saturn has been in the 12th house of expenses and losses, and it's also giving you challenges in your career as well as your financial situation. Both Saturn's and Jupiter's aspect on the 6th house means that you could be faced with relationship issues with coworkers and your superiors at work. And so this maybe is creating some obstacles in getting your work done. Business owners may also have stiff competition from their competitors, so that may be a source of worry as well. As far as finance is concerned, now that Jupiter is in the second house, your income may improve, but it's going to improve very gradually, and not all of a sudden in May. So it's going to take some time to improve as Jupiter, increases degrees in the second house. At the same time, your expenses continue to be high because Saturn is in the 12th house of expenses. So you're advised to manage your finances very tightly. Mars is going to be debilitated this month, and it is the ruler of your second house. The second house signifies family, finance, your communication, and the food that you eat. And Mars also rules your ninth house, which is the house of your father. So you need to take very good care of your communication with your extended family as well as your father. Mars, when it's debilitated, represents pent-up anger. So, and second house represents communication, what you say, how you say it. So you need to be very careful in your communication with, like I said, your extended family, especially with your father, because that debilitated Mars is going to give you that tendency, and it's going to ruin relationships. So I'm cautioning you to make sure your communication with extended family members and your father especially very cordial, very calm, pleasant, and don't fall prey to this debilitated Mars's negative energy. Since the second house and Mars also rules the food that you eat, you also need to be very careful that you eat very healthy. Otherwise, it could ruin your health or damage your health. And it could give you some digestive issues at this time as well. The good thing about Saturn being in the 12th house is that some Pisces people could have foreign travel during this 2-year transit of Saturn being there. So if that's something that you want to do, this is a great time to do that or plan it. So a couple of remedies that you can do to kind of negate the negative influence on your career is sixth house remedy is always to have a very good physical workout regimen, whether it's a high intensity or low intensity. Just do it as long as you do it, regularly and with discipline. It kind of takes care of the sixth house, negative energy. So follow a good physical workout regimen and stay close to the divine. It activates your luck factor. And this brings me to the end of my video. I hope everybody has a very good month of May. Good luck, and I'll see you on my next video. Goodbye for now.